So, good morning, which is an unusual greeting for us, but we happen to have a little bit of time off and we're working during the day. So, I promised a bit of an update on some OO9 work. So, as our next part of our Tutorial Tuesdays, this is how to build a rather nice little OO9, or I guess it could be HOE for those of you, our international friends, little freelance diesel rail bus. Now, I will ask for your patience. You will see that the camera angle and the lighting and the background changes, because one of the ways I model is every time I get 10 or 15 minutes I do a bit, because I don't very often get a couple of hours that I can just sit. And so we filmed this at different times, but hopefully it'll give you some idea how we did it. So let's start with how we did it. So today I'm going to have a go at the first stages of making a diesel rail bus, which I know are very popular. So I'm going to use, which is what a lot of people use, these are the Kato 11103 chassis. This one, before I've used 104, this is 103. I have noticed it's got a nice big weight in there, which the other one hasn't, and it's got the couplings ready fitted, although I don't want the couplings. I buy these from Plaza Japan. I don't know if Doug can probably put a link on the video. Absolutely amazing service, direct from Japan, almost 40% cheaper than the UK price, and they come in about a week, 10 days, 2 weeks max, which is wonderful. So I was going to use a bigger Bobo chassis, but a story for another day. I wasn't able to get one of those, so I thought I'd use that, which is what everybody's got. So to start working on the body, I've got an old Jouef Coach here. These were the ones that came in the toy train set, so that cost me 50p. So it really doesn't matter what I do to that if it doesn't quite work. And what I'm going to have a go at is doing very similar to the other video that we're working on, which is how to do the loco, which is where I'm going to shorten it, lower it and make it narrower, and then hopefully keep the sides. So I've worked out that I want to put my first cut in just down through here, through that window frame. I'm going to keep it together while I do that, and I'm going to use these roof lines to try and give me a straight edge, and hopefully to give me a neat edge when we butt the other piece on.
I expect that we'll be able to do this as a time lapse. Or do you want to just stop filming? Yeah? The camera's filming, so just make time.
Now I just use an ordinary hacksaw. I find it's nice and quick, it's reasonably accurate. So that's one part. Slight problem, the windows don't line up, so I'm going to do a little bit of work there. I just use a hacksaw because I find it's quick and easy for this kind of work. Does quite a nice straight line. So what I'm hoping now is that the next one we can do, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do it slightly differently to give us a bit of leeway, because those windows didn't line up. So let's see what happens if we do this one. So there we've got the beginnings of the body. Slight problem around the windows because they didn't quite line up, but I think I can get around that. I think I can make that work.
The text is lined up.
Yeah, text is interesting, the text lines up. So that gives us the length, and that's going to look quite good when that's cleaned up with a little chassis underneath. Now what we're going to do, we're going to work on the width and the height, hopefully. In fact, we might leave the height for the moment. Don't know if we'll get away with that. So we're going to leave the height for the moment. So now we're going to work on the width, and that's going to be a little bit fiddlier. I'm going to use these door lines as the guide, but I'm just going to take these boxes off with a razor saw. So now we're going to use the two door lines here as our straight edges. So that's one end, a bit narrower, same sort of width as the loco. It's going to be quite tricky, this one, actually, to get right. So now we've got to reduce this by a similar amount. Here we are, because I didn't think you'd want to watch everything being cut up. So basically, you can see here with the roof, we ended up with 4 pieces. You saw me cutting it in half. I've then reduced it in width. Now, what I'll do then is use this, which is the filler I happen to have around. It's the cheapest milliput, because we are budget model railways. There are better fillers out there, but that's what I've got. And obviously, I'll have to fill all this and carefully sand that. But what the idea is then is that's obviously going to be a very professional looking roof when it's finished. It'll look like a commercially available kit. This is very similar. Now what I did here, I cut it up into 4 again, which was a little bit fraught in places. And then what I've done is assembled them as 2 separate sides and then join the 2 sides together, making sure that the width is the same as the roof. Now what's happened, you can see that it's come out a little bit too narrow, so I've just supported it, and you can see through all of this that all I've used is scraps of plastic from the construction. But that will sit, I don't know if you've got the camera angle, I'll just show you here quickly. This then just sits in there, and that will give you a lovely looking diesel rail bus. You can imagine when that's all painted up in nice colours and finished off, do something with the fronts. But you know, the chassis is £12, the body cost me 50p. So that, I think, will be, when it's done, that'll be a very professional looking little loco. And what we'll do is, instead of doing this in episodes, in a minute you'll see me saying, oh look, I've painted it, and we'll show you it as we come along. But that's the start of the project. So here we are at the next stage. So this is the body. Now what you can see in here is I've put some big chunks of scrap plastic just to hold it together. So while you don't have to worry too much about accuracy, there's actually some gaps front and rear where I didn't quite get the saw cuts right, but it's easy to overcome. At the fronts, you can just see the beige there. That is the filler to fill the various holes left from where I've cut away. I've cut the window out. It's very hard to see the join. I'm really pleased with that as a body. This then is the roof. Same again, you can see in there where I've used big chunks of plastic to hold it together. I've painted the windows there white, window frames, and you can see on the roof you can't see any joins. There's actually a join through this seam here, and there's a join down the middle, but it's been filled with filler and sanded and then painted. So the next stage will be to show you all these pieces painted and finished. Good. So there we go, that's how we did it. So let's just show you a little bit inside here. That really just shows you I suppose you can almost say what a bodge is. There's bits of gaps and there's bits of rough plastic, but you can't see the joins. There's the roof, there's the sides. Can't see the joins anywhere. Little bit of work. And then this is the little Kato chassis. This is, as I said, this is the 103. I showed you it earlier, but let's show you it again. There's also, I think it's a 102, but that's a slightly different chassis, and I prefer this one. And this will just literally drop on there. Now I'm going to put it down. I'm going to probably glue it down once I know it all runs. I might add a little bit of weight, but I think you'll agree that that's quite an impressive looking rail bus. I've painted the handrails. You've got a very unusual front there. So we've got the little doors and the steps that come in. The front window was just done from a piece of glazing bar off another conversion I'm doing. The side windows, actually I've used, where Douglas laminates things, where you trim the lamination, you get clear plastic sheet. And that's all the windows are. The nice thing about these Lima models where the windows are inherent with the roof is that you can paint the window sills differently. So that gives you another really nice little bit of detail. I haven't worried that the couplings are still on there because they're hidden anyway. And being a Kato chassis, that will be a really nice little runner. It will run really slowly, really smoothly and quietly. So I'm actually fairly chuffed to bits with that. I think that's going to look great on the layout. It's going to look almost like a commercially produced kit, I think. And so I'm really pleased with it. Anybody could do it. It's just an old hoe restaurant coach, a hacksaw and a Kato chassis. it's cost me probably £13 to make, and I think that looks rather nice. So I hope that's given you some inspiration, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment or subscribe. Hi, thanks for watching the video and for the nice comments. Click on the left for a previous video in this series, click on the right for another video you might enjoy, and please don't forget to click to subscribe, like, comment, etc. Thanks again.